What if the world was just minutes away from a massive war, and then, at the very last second, everything stopped? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Gundi, and you are watching Pulse America News. Last night, according to multiple international reports and regional discussions, a major military strike on Iran was expected. Fighter jets were reportedly prepared. Naval fleets were already positioned. Missiles were said to be on alert. The atmosphere was tense. But in the final moments, the operation was postponed. This is not the first time such a situation has happened. It has happened before, where action seemed certain, yet it was paused at the last stage. Imagine the level of preparation that was described. Reports suggested that hundreds of aircraft, including advanced bombers, were on standby. Warships were deployed across strategic waters. Military movements were observed in several nearby regions. Compared to past conflicts in the region, the scale of readiness was being described as much larger. And still, despite all this, the decision was made to hold back. Planes that were reportedly ready for launch did not take off for combat. The final authorization did not move forward. Now the big question is why? Some international media outlets claimed that there was serious disagreement behind the scenes. There were suggestions of intelligence assessments being reviewed again at the last moment. When such large operations are planned, military leaders analyze risks very carefully. If intelligence reports change, or if new information comes in, strategies can shift quickly. In modern warfare, real-time intelligence plays a huge role. Even a small miscalculation can lead to large consequences. It is possible that planners reconsidered the situation after reviewing updated information. Another factor being discussed by analysts is regional involvement. There are claims that major global powers are closely watching every move. Some experts believe that intelligence sharing between global rivals may have influenced the decision-making process. When multiple powerful nations are indirectly involved, the situation becomes even more sensitive. No country wants to enter a conflict without fully understanding the possible reaction from other global players. A small strike can turn into a large regional war within hours if responses escalate. There are also reports that Iranian forces had already taken precautionary steps. Military units were said to be repositioned. Defensive systems were reportedly activated. Leadership structures were allegedly reorganized in a way that makes targeting more difficult. Some sources claim that key leaders were relocated to secure and undisclosed locations. Communication systems were diversified to prevent disruption. If such preparations were confirmed, that alone could make any attacking force reconsider the cost and effectiveness of immediate action. According to open discussions from political circles, some officials inside the United States were advising caution. Senior defense experts, military chiefs, and security advisors reportedly emphasized the risks. When top advisors suggest that an operation may not serve national interests, leaders often pause and reassess. It is important to remember that any direct conflict with Iran would not be small. Iran has significant missile capabilities and regional influence. Retaliation could target multiple locations across the Middle East. Military bases, energy routes, and allied territories could all become part of the equation. There were also discussions about targeting high-level leadership figures. Such actions, if attempted, would dramatically increase tensions. Targeting leadership is considered a very serious escalation. Any such move would almost guarantee a powerful response. Because of this, some analysts believe that planners may have stepped back to avoid immediate large-scale retaliation. Even if the strike achieved tactical success, the strategic cost could be extremely high. At the same time, reports suggested tension on other fronts. There were incidents in neighboring countries. Armed groups in the region were said to be on alert. The possibility of multi-front escalation became a serious concern. If one action triggers responses from different sides at the same time, the conflict can quickly spiral beyond control. This risk alone may have contributed to the decision to postpone.
Inside Iran, there were also claims circulating about internal unrest and public reaction. However, information from conflict zones is often mixed and difficult to verify. In high-tension situations, psychological narratives spread rapidly through media and social platforms. It becomes challenging to separate confirmed facts from speculation. Governments on all sides carefully manage public messaging during such times. Many observers now say that postponing the strike does not mean the issue is resolved. Military assets remain deployed, strategic positions are still active, diplomatic pressure continues. When large forces are already mobilized, they do not simply disappear overnight. This creates a fragile environment where any small incident could reignite plans. It is also important to understand the economic angle. A conflict in this region would directly impact global oil markets, shipping routes, and international trade. Investors react quickly to uncertainty. Financial markets show volatility. Energy prices can spike within hours. That is another reason why leaders think multiple times before making irreversible decisions. The cost of war today is not only measured in military terms, but also in economic and political consequences. Some analysts believe that intelligence gaps may have played a role. If planners were not fully confident about disabling key defense systems or missile launch capabilities, they might have reconsidered postponement. Modern defense networks are complex. Cyber elements, radar systems, underground facilities, and mobile units make targeting extremely challenging. If the expected objectives were not guaranteed, postponement becomes a logical choice. There is also the factor of global alliances. Major powers like China and Russia have strategic interests in the region. While they may not be directly involved in combat, their diplomatic and intelligence roles matter. Any sign that they could provide support, even indirectly, increases the strategic complexity. No superpower wants to risk a broader confrontation without careful calculation. Another important point is public opinion. In democratic systems, public support matters. Lawmakers debate risks openly. Military engagement decisions are often scrutinized heavily. If lawmakers, security committees, and defense planners raise strong concerns, leadership may decide to delay action. War is not only a battlefield decision, it is also a political decision. Iran, on its side, has repeatedly stated that it would respond strongly to any direct attack. Officials have emphasized that retaliation would not be symbolic, but substantial. This kind of messaging increases deterrence. When both sides signal readiness, the chances of miscalculation increase. That is why sometimes stepping back at the last minute is seen as a strategic pause rather than weakness. At this moment, the region remains highly tense. Military observers are watching troop movements. Diplomatic channels are active behind closed doors. Back-channel talks often happen quietly during such crises. Sometimes public statements are strong, while private negotiations are ongoing. It is possible that intense diplomatic efforts contributed to the postponement. What happens next remains uncertain. A delay does not automatically cancel long-term strategies. Plans can be revised, updated, and reapproved at any time. However, the fact that the strike was paused shows that leaders are aware of the high stakes involved. A single decision can reshape the Middle East for decades. For viewers watching this situation, it is important to stay informed, but also cautious about unverified claims. In times of high tension, misinformation spreads quickly. Always rely on credible sources and official confirmations before forming conclusions. As we continue to monitor developments, we will provide balanced updates based on available information. One thing is clear, the region is standing at a sensitive crossroads. Military readiness remains visible. Diplomatic efforts are ongoing. Strategic calculations are being reviewed again and again. Whether this leads to de-escalation or renewed confrontation will depend on decisions made in the coming days. I am Gundi, and this is Pulse America News. Do not forget to subscribe to Pulse America News, like this video, share it with others, and share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay informed, stay aware, and we will continue bringing you responsible and policy-compliant updates on this developing situation.
As we continue this developing story, it is important to look deeper into the broader strategic picture. When a major power prepares for a strike and then pauses at the final second, it sends a message to both allies and rivals. It shows that the decision was not simple. It shows that calculations are still ongoing, and it also shows that the consequences of action may be greater than initially expected. Military deployments that were reported in the region have not suddenly vanished. Naval fleets remain active in nearby waters. Surveillance aircraft continue to monitor airspace. Missile defense systems across Allied territories are on alert. When forces reach this level of readiness, it means planners had moved far beyond theory. They were operating at an operational stage. For such preparations to stop at the last moment suggests either new intelligence, diplomatic intervention, or a reassessment of risks versus rewards. One scenario being discussed quietly among defense analysts is the risk of immediate retaliation across multiple fronts. Iran is not isolated geographically. It has influence and relationships with various regional actors. If a direct strike were launched, responses might not be limited to one battlefield. There could be activity in neighboring countries, disruptions to shipping lanes, or pressure on energy infrastructure. Even limited exchanges could quickly expand beyond original expectations. Another element is cyber capability. Modern conflicts are not fought only with jets and missiles. Cyber operations can target financial systems, infrastructure, communication networks, and industrial facilities. If planners expected a strong cyber response, that alone could cause hesitation. A war in today's world spreads into digital spaces instantly. That makes escalation less predictable and harder to control. Diplomatic channels may also be playing a quiet but powerful role. When tensions rise to this level, world capitals become very active behind closed doors. Envoys speak to one another. Messages are passed through intermediaries. Allies urge restraint. Rivals send warnings. Sometimes a single high-level call can delay or reshape military timelines. Publicly, leaders may speak strongly. Privately, they often look for ways to prevent uncontrollable escalation. Economic pressure is another major factor. Sanctions, trade restrictions, and financial controls are already tools being used. Some policymakers may believe that economic strategies are more effective than immediate military strikes. Prolonged financial pressure can weaken an opponent without triggering open warfare. If that view gains strength among advisors, it could explain the postponement. There is also the issue of global perception. A direct attack would not be viewed in isolation. International organizations, major economies, and regional blocs would respond diplomatically. Markets would react within minutes. Oil prices could jump sharply. Insurance costs for shipping through critical waterways could increase overnight. These ripple effects make military decisions even more complex. Inside Iran, authorities have emphasized unity and resistance. Public messaging from officials suggests readiness to defend sovereignty. Whether these statements are purely deterrent or reflect actual operational posture is difficult to confirm independently. However, strong public messaging can increase the political cost for any opposing force considering action. It is equally important to note that postponement does not equal cancellation. Military plans are often dynamic. They are adjusted according to timing, intelligence, and opportunity. A delayed operation may return in a different form. It may involve different tactics or limited objectives. Or it may shift entirely toward diplomatic engagement. At this stage, nothing appears fully settled. Observers also mention that domestic politics inside major powers can influence timing. Leaders must consider elections, legislative approval, public opinion, and economic stability. A sudden war can reshape political landscapes overnight. Therefore, caution at the final moment can sometimes reflect internal debate rather than external weakness. The regional balance of power remains delicate. Neighboring countries are watching carefully. Some are strengthening their defenses quietly.
Others are urging calm publicly. No country in the area wants to become an unintended battlefield. Even a limited exchange between two states can draw in others through alliances or geography. From a strategic perspective, the pause may serve multiple purposes. It could be a signal to pressure negotiations. It could be a warning without execution. It could be a test of readiness, or it could simply reflect incomplete confidence in the outcome. Military planners rarely move forward unless they believe objectives are achievable with manageable consequences. For global audiences, the key takeaway is that this situation remains fluid. Headlines can change quickly. Statements from officials may shift tone within hours. It is essential to remain calm and analytical. Escalation is possible, but so is de-escalation. History has shown many moments when nations stood close to confrontation and then stepped back. As we move into the coming days, attention will focus on three main areas. First, whether military assets remain deployed at high alert. Second, whether diplomatic engagements intensify. Third, whether any new incident triggers renewed urgency. These indicators will provide clearer signals about the direction of events. For now, the strike that many believed was imminent did not take place. That decision alone has altered the immediate timeline. But the underlying tensions that led to preparation are still present. Strategic rivalries, regional disputes, and global competition continue. I am Kundi, and you are watching Pulse America News. We remain committed to bringing you factual, balanced, and policy-compliant analysis. Make sure to subscribe to Pulse America News, like this video, share it responsibly, and write your views in the comments. Stay informed, stay thoughtful, and we will continue tracking every development with care and responsibility.